So I got to do a little test because it's been a while since I've done any sort of streaming, and I had I had to download a lot of updates before coming on. So I'm hoping that everything is working well. One of the things I had to do was re-download Crisp to make sure that it does a gauge on here so it stops any background noise. Like right now I have the air conditioner going, so when I stop talking, hopefully it's quiet and nothing can be heard. Bailey's not doing well at all, so I think it was picking up on him hacking every now and then. But just want to make sure that audio is okay, which it seems to be. I don't know where to start. It's been a very long time, obviously, since I've streamed, and sorry for the video quality. I am using my GoPro, but I'm assuming that it's the lighting in here. I don't have my ring light on, no nothing, so I'm sure there's a lot of noise with the shirt being black and it being dark in here. So I'm sure that the camera's trying to adjust for the ISO or whatever else like that. No problem, Tony. This is just, I don't know how long ago. This is just kind of an update because I did a stream, I think. My God, I don't know when I did a stream last, but I think it was talking about my work injury, which is weird because I should have been streaming a lot during this time. Maybe it would have helped some of my mental health, which I'll kind of get into there as well. So I could have been streaming. I know I said last time that Chase and I want to be trying to stream again. But for a while, I had so many medical appointments. Well, for a while, I had so many medical appointments that it was hard to find a time, especially with Chase's kind of schedule kind of going on and trying to reach areas of the globe where most people watch, where everyone could kind of view at the same time. So it's been a while. I think he still wants to stream. We got his own computer set up a while ago that he's finally starting to kind of use. We've done a lot throughout the house since my time off sitting at home. So there's a lot of changes in here, which maybe you guys can kind of see a little bit visually. We now have, I did do a video. I didn't do a live stream, but I did do a video about the fish tanks. We have 8 with fish, 9 because we got one tank that's kind of like an overflow plant growth tank. But I got my 75 over here. And I got the 72 bow front here. Obviously the 40 breeder there. We got the 20 long right there. Underneath this 40 breeder, you can't see, but there's a 20 high. And then kind of right back there, that's a bow front tank. There's a 65 gallon in the bedroom, and there's a 10 gallon in our creative room, our office, whatever you want to call it. It's basically where Chase creates his drag and I build my rockets and other random things. One things I've got into way back in the pandemic that I want to start to get back into are like these. They're little wood puzzles. It's hard to see obviously on camera. I got one right there. It's a marble run wood pan puzzle type thing. But we also found these things called book nooks. Obviously I love to build stuff, so we're gonna try to kind of start to decorate the place a little bit of that. I got the artwork hung a while ago. Rearrange some things in here, new couch, new furniture. Basically, after moving out of the apartment that I was in originally, when I was doing the streams and everything else like that, it's literally right across the hall. So we just moved straight across the hall. But once, yeah, there you go, craft stream. I should do that. Once we no longer had the roommate we had, and kind of able to put our things the way we wanted to and make sure that everything was actually being taken care of, we transitioned into purchasing a lot of new things that we knew would be taken care of and would last us and wouldn't be either broken or destroyed somehow. So, but anyways, so I come here to talk about what's new in the apartment. To kind of give a little update. So for the anyone who doesn't know, August 12th, so a little over a year ago, I had a work injury. Now, I'm not going to get. I mean, I'll kind of talk about the injury, but I'm not going to get too much deep into some things because currently now I'm in litigation. Well, or I hired a lawyer, but most of you know that, or yeah, most of you know that I was at work and I had a flyer who was obviously flying inside the wind tunnel, and he was about 10 to 12 feet above my head, and he rolled over and came falling down, and I went to go catch him, and my right arm didn't get under him quick enough. um, Someone's calling me. I kind of want to answer it because I've been trying to get some answers as far as what the next step is as far as my medical stuff, but usually it says healthcare on there or something, so I'm not going to answer it. But anyways, my right arm didn't get underneath him all the way to be able to catch it, so it hyperextended. Well, hello, Fohammer. Welcome to the chat. I should say Hunter. Nice to see you. So my arm didn't get fully underneath him. It hyperextended. And as you can clearly see, I snapped my distal bicep tendon, and it messed up my elbow, messed up my shoulder. And some of the things that I noticed right away was like it was hard to turn doorknobs. It was hard to push on things. Oddly, I did not know that I snapped my distal bicep tendon. I thought I pulled a muscle, and was just hurting. And I did take 2 days of light duty, and then I went back to work. And some of the reason why I went back to work is because one, I felt guilty. I felt bad that I wasn't working and kind of, for lack of better terms, letting the team down by being short one instructor when we were kind of already were a little bit short staffed as far as capabilities inside the wind tunnel. So I went back. I continued to work with this torn distal bicep tendon, and as I was taking classes, I think I've mentioned before, one of the things that we do is something called a high plate. And it's where we take a group of people and they can pay extra for it. And to use this as a cheat code, we'll fly them up a bit higher, probably about 20 feet up in the air. We'll go up and down. Well, while I was doing that, obviously I was having issues with the arm, but it was kind of one of those, motion is lotion. Maybe I just got to work out what I thought was a, sprained muscle or something like that. And my shoulder felt like it wanted to dislocate frequently doing that because we do a lot of push pull. We do a lot with our shoulders. We do so much with our shoulders with side wind tunnel. And I've never had the feeling like something wanted to dislocate. So that was one thing I was noticing, along with obviously, like I said, the arm hurting with push pull type stuff, twisting, rotating the hand, which I had no clue how much the bicep controls how much your hand rotates. I did not know that pretty much was your bicep doing that work. And my low back was hurting, my fingers were tingling, my neck was hurting, I was getting headaches and migraines, and doing my own personal flight skills. Like one of the things that I would do inside the wind tunnels, like for my demo at the end of a class, is I would do a double front flip. And so when I'd pop up to do my double front flip, I always ended up, normally I stay in the direct center of the tunnel, but I always ended up like on the glass and had to like push myself away. Another thing is like doing layouts. Normally, you're facing a certain way, you do your layout and you end up facing the same direction. Well, I'd go into my layout and I'd end up facing a different direction. So I'd always end up off heading. I'm reading Hunter's comment real quick. Yeah, I mean, some people will say, like, like with the distal bicep tendon, like you should definitely know your bicep will look funky and stuff like that. And I don't bruise really easily, so I didn't really bruise, which is also weird. But so after after about 2 to 3 weeks of working with a torn bicep tendon and my shoulder feeling like it wanted to dislocate with high flights and doing certain things, certain tricks and stuff inside the tunnel, getting migraines very frequently, the finger numbness and tingling, the low back kind of hurting, which wasn't as bad. My main concerns were my elbow, which felt weird, and my shoulder, which felt weird. And so I went in. Obviously, they did MRIs, found out that my bicep tendon was torn, and it's like 90+% torn. So they immediately did a surgery, because usually they like to do a surgery, I think, within like 30 to 60 days of it being torn. So one thing I'm thankful for is that something else didn't happen while in there that fully snapped it, because then I probably would have lost all control of that arm as far as being able to lift. And I mean, obviously we're dealing with bodies inside that wind tunnel, and despite what some people want to think, that gravity is still still a thing inside the wind tunnel. So I had the surgery right away, and I kept bringing up the shoulder, and I kept bringing up the finger numbness, and the migraines were getting extremely bad. Like I was getting migraines minimum 3 times a week. And I mean, it put me down. There was one time I was trying to put my sock on to take the dogs out to go potty, and I reached down to put it on, and it was instant migraine. So I sat there for a bit, trying to like breathe real slow and try to keep my eyes closed, and I felt like maybe I was kind of getting better. So I started to harness up the dogs. But when I went to go harness them, like I was done. There was absolutely no way I was taking them out. So I had to throw some belly bands on them, that if they had to pee, they had to pee in their belly bands instead of taking them out. And I would lay down, and obviously with migraine stuff, it would be the whole nausea, blurred vision, appetite completely gone, balance, all that sorts of stuff played a role. And sometimes even laying down didn't do anything, because I was hurting so bad that I couldn't sleep even. And if I did, sometimes I'd wake up and I'd feel slightly better. And I tried ice, all that other stuff, and it didn't really help. What I did find help would be like putting ice kind of on the forehead area. But it always seemed to stem from the shoulder area. And one thing that maybe I kind of like was my issue when I was going to the doctors and talking about the shoulder area, like I kind of consider from like the base of my neck all the way over here as my shoulder, not just here. So I tell them, like my shoulder is feeling like it's pulling and tight, and so I'm talking about like this whole area. And so a lot of times the migraines would stem from here and creep forward and go into like basically the front of my head. And sometimes it would stem from the neck and cause the shoulder to get stiff, and sometimes it would be the shoulder would get stiff and then go up and come over. So I kept pushing my shoulder thing, but because my surgery was fresh, they said, let's wait a month or whatever, let's get the shoulder or the elbow going. We don't want to do too many things at once. We want to get one thing healed and then go into the next. The more I worked on my supination with my hand, the more my shoulder started to hurt. The more my shoulder started to hurt, the more it kicked into my neck, the more it caused migraines. So it was like a catch-22 type deal of, what do I do? Do I continue working with the arm? And so finally they started to look into the shoulder more. I'm going to quick read what your comment is. It's not always the case. It's usually most cases to notice proximal tendon breaking from distal tendon. Yeah. I know some of that stuff. I don't know some of it. I mean, obviously I Googled some of it when I was looking into it, or when it all happened. So they finally decided, because the fact that I was having issues with my supination and it was causing the shoulder to get worse, they finally did an MRI on the shoulder to see if there was a labral tear, and nothing showed up. And so I asked if we could do an MRA, which is basically an MRI but with contrast, whatever. From my understanding, maybe Hunter can answer that. And again, nothing showed up on that. And the doctor that I was seeing, so I saw a sports medicine doctor who sent me to a specialist for my elbow. And because this was all work comp, the surgeon who did my elbow was only focusing on my elbow. Once the elbow surgery was done, anything else, she sent me back to the sports medicine doctor. And so when nothing was showed up, she thought she maybe saw something that showed up as a labral tear on the one with contrast. But they couldn't say definitively. So obviously I go into physical therapy because they're like, well, if we do decide to do surgery or explore it, we want your shoulder to be strong as it is. And I kind of laughed at that because I'm like, all we do inside the wind tunnel is shoulder work. Like, there's no way my shoulder's not strong. And they're like, yeah, but you've been out of work for, about 2-3 months at this point, that it's probably weakened. And I'm thinking in my head, well, I was on furlough for, 15 months during the pandemic. And I went back to work and no issue. I didn't have a problem. So I was like, I find it weird that it would be, that my shoulder would be that weak. But anyways, go through the steps, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I had one physical therapist, talked to him. He wasn't available one of the weeks, so I talked to the head of the department, physical therapist. She was helping with me, and she thought maybe it was a brachial plexus injury, which is the nerves, right? Whatever. Because of all the signs of muscle weakness, arm weakness, because I explained to her, I find it really weird if my muscles were not strong because we do so much. And so that's why she thought maybe it was brachial plexus. The nerves aren't sending out the signal, blah, yada, yada. Continued PT though, explained to my sports medicine doctor, she kind of agreed, let's look into the brachial plexus. If not, it's still all signs point to a labral tear, even though nothing's showing up, either that or a capsule pull. I don't really know what a capsule pull is. I kind of tried to ask them a little bit about it, and it sounds like, the socket your shoulder sits in, if it gets pulled, and I don't know if it would be the labrum, the underside, or what, but the area that it sits in, or this, the skin on the bone or something could have pulled away and there's an air pocket, or it's just now it's not fully seated to the bone like it should be in there or something. Yes, and nerves from my understanding as well. So now the incident happened August 12th. My surgery for the bicep tendon was October 5th. During this time, I had been complaining about my shoulder weakness, been complaining about migraines happening and numbness, tingling in my forefingers. By February time, it started to creep in my left hand with finger numbness and stuff. And the migraines were progressively getting worse, where it was no longer lasting 8 hours. It was now starting to turn into a day or two that they were lasting, full day, second day, sometimes even a third. And if it wasn't a migraine, it was always an underlying headache that I felt no matter what I did, it could trigger it. And I'm going to say hello to Little Wolf, welcome, and Nickel, long time no see, guys. It was to the point where because it was wintertime, we were making homemade chili, and browning up the meat, just doing that motion with my arm and then stirring would cause a migraine. So then it became a point of don't do anything that's a movement with my arm or where there's resistance that lasts frequently, because that was going to trigger a migraine. Guaranteed it was going to trigger a migraine. So February they ordered brachial plexus MRI and a cervical spine MRI. And the reason why they wanted to look into the cervical spine is because the whole migraine thing, the tingling in the fingers, and with the pulling and everything here, the instability in the shoulder, just a lot of things. So they wanted to see, is there something in the neck that's causing the shoulder to be weak? Or is it the brachial plexus with the nerves there that's causing everything to be weak? Or is the shoulder separate and not nerves here, and this is causing something to pull, which is then causing, like, are they two separate things or are they tied together? Is one causing the symptoms of everything else, or are they two separate things that are causing separate symptoms, yada, yada. They also ordered something called an NCS EMG. I can't remember exactly what it stands for, but basically they take probes and they send shocks and they measure the time between the signal to see if there's nerve damage. And then they another point is they put needles into your muscle and they have you do some like flexing type stuff to see like the sound basically coming from your muscles to determine on if it's flexing properly or getting to max point. They put a needle in certain spots. The only one that really hurt was the one in the pad of my thumb. That was the only one that was kind of like no good. That showed nothing. Well, I should backtrack. So they ordered this in February. Sorry, nobody's hacking, and I don't know why. They ordered it in February. Wasn't hearing anything from work comp. Not hearing a word. I scheduled the MRI for the brachial plexus cervical spine. I actually got turned away because of my dermals. They were nervous that it was going to heat up, cause issues, and I was like, look, I had an MRI for my distal bicep tendon, no issue. Had an MRI for my shoulder, no issue. Had an MRA for my shoulder, no issue. So at this point, I've had 3 times in the MRI machine in 3-4 months and no issue. So they turned me away, talked to my QRC. My QRC said, well, I know this place. They'll probably do it. If they feel like it's going to heat up, they'll ask you. They'll put an ice pack on it or something like that. They use a big, huge magnet to see if they're magnetic, and if they are, that's probably going to heat up. Well, they never an issue. Well, in that time, I wasn't hearing back from work comp, wasn't hearing back, and finally we were told that after a month and a half of not hearing from them, we were finally told that I was approved for the MRIs and the NCS EMG, which we were telling them, like, the NCS EMG place is booked out over a month. So it was ordered in February. I booked the NCS EMG, which wasn't available until April. But being we weren't hearing anything, I had to cancel the one in April, the beginning of April. We didn't hear anything until I think it was beginning of April that they finally approved it, because I think I had my MRIs middle of April. No, I had to have been the end of April because my NCS EMG wasn't until like end of May. So it was a long time. So I went a month and a half without anything other than some physical therapy. And I went in for the MRI. The brachial plexus showed nothing, which is good. It means there's no nerve damage. However, the cervical spine showed that there's C7 disc bulging and nerve root impingement, meaning it's obviously pinching the nerve really bad. Let me say hello to Vishanti. I always say it wrong. Lots of nerve endings in the hands, makes sense. I always prefer bicep IV over hand. I'm okay with either. Like, I think I saw something of you posting veins or whatever else like that, but my hands, I call them church chapel hands. Like, you can't see them obviously now, but like they're so straight and perfect. And then same with the arm here, the the veins bulge out. But yeah, thank you. But so the C7 had impingement, and there's some impingement in other areas, but basically it explains, I guess, the finger numbness and tingling, which was always the right hand, but it started to creep in the left, and it showed that the right was by far stronger than the left. So I had an answer as to what is possibly causing the migraines and the finger stuff. But now, was it causing the shoulder instability? I don't know. I don't know that stuff. So they wanted me to see a cervical spine, which she also ordered, or a cervical spine specialist, which she also ordered that way back in February. And the cervical spine specialist was denied. That actually was denied, and they, I guess, were doing the cervical spine MRIs and brachial plexus as a good faith type thing. So once those came back and it showed positive for the cervical spine, then they sent me to an independent medical examiner. Now, I've had one experience with work comp in the past before, and I know from many other people, is when work comp sends you to an independent medical examiner, expect things to be done. Like they're looking to cut you off. Which to me kind of makes sense, because now I've had something come back saying that I had an issue with the cervical spine, which the sports medicine doctor, she thinks, once she got the MRI, she thought 100% that this was caused by the incident. Obviously, there was things that showed up, some arthritis and some disc degeneration, which for my age, being 43, should be there, right? But the other stuff, they were like, no, they should. That's from the work injury. Now it gets really confusing because she ends up leaving the company and going back to California. So now I have to see a new sports medicine person. So she recommended seeing cervical spine. It got denied. They were schedules an IME, but I had now scheduled an appointment for her replacement a week after the cervical spine, because that was as soon as I could get in. Or not a week after the cervical spine, a week after the IME. Not even 3 days after the IME, because that was as soon as I could get in with him. I go into the IME. The day that I go into the IME, I got the results back from the NCS EMG, showed negative, which is a good thing, because that means none of the nerves here are damaged or anything like that, which kind of then only points more to something in the cervical spine. The IME is a cervical spine specialist, but he's also an IME, so I kind of, like I said, I expected not so good news from that. The second sports medicine doctor, he agreed with the first one that this was caused by the incident. He again recommends cervical spine, which gets denied. Waited 2 months for the IME report to come out. And during that 2 months, I wasn't approved for anything, nothing. So for 2 months, from beginning of June all the way up until a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing PT. They've been doing dry needling in this area, which I've had dry needling in the past, and it's worked wonders for me. Amazing. So I was like, let's do this. And it helped a little bit with the shoulder area, but not as great as I was hoping for, with like results that I've had in the past in other areas and stuff like that. So I know it's confusing. I know it's a lot. There's a lot that's been going on. There's been so much that's been going on. There were a minimum of 6 times that work comp failed to send any sort of payment. There was one point where 3 weeks went by with no payment from them. And these always happen at the beginning of the month. And the beginning of the month, the first like 75% of my bills come out like within the first 10 days of the month. So they missed a week back around the holiday season. And I ended up getting my check, like a week later. It was just a week delayed. They missed another time, I want to say end of January, maybe February-ish. Then they missed the 3 weeks at the beginning of March, which caused me to go negative in my account. Like, because obviously I don't make as much on work comp as if I was actually working. And so I essentially turned into a bill collector, like calling them, trying to talk to my adjuster's boss. I turned into a Karen. I turned into a Karen. Well, hi. Come here. Okay, he comes up. He wants to sniff and runs away. Turn into a Karen by saying, "Let me speak to your manager," type deal. Because my adjuster was not talking to us. Like, she wouldn't respond back to me. She wasn't talking to my QRC. We went back and looked, and it was like a month and a half from a time we sent an email to, like, we sent multiple emails, but from the first one or the last time we heard from her to the next time that we heard from her was like a month and a half difference. And I could never get a hold of her manager, but I eventually got paid. Then it happened another time. Finally, by the sixth time, my old boss, who got fired from the company I was working, who that was a joke. That's a whole other story. He gave me the number to someone who, I think she's an in-between. She doesn't work for my company, but she is like the insurance representative between my company and Berkshire Hathaway, who is the work comp insurer. And she's like the president of that place or something. So I contact her, and she's pissed. She sends out an email, and basically as soon as she got involved, things started moving a bit quicker, and started getting a ton of people involved. July, it happened again, beginning of the month, so I had to do this all over again. It happened a second time in July, so I had to. Oh, is my mic peaking? I can turn it down a bit. Happened a second time in July, and so let me know if that works better. Happened a second time in July. Talked with her. By this point, they're putting me negative in my checking account again because, again, tight budget, not making the money I had, and I mean, they always do at the beginning of the month. So let me catch up. There's a lot of things I haven't read. Sorry, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to say hello to Shane. I'm going to say hello to Dr. Nimrod. What am I missing? Wow, there's a lot I haven't read. Boy, okay. Ketamine therapy, not the normal therapy where you talk, although that helps. Okay. Summer, Nicole Wolfit saying hello. Okay, cool. Just kind of catching up. Yeah, okay. Duct tape and wire. Anyways, so I was pissed, and I was like talking to this head of the insurance company about like or not the head of the insurance company, but like the person representing our company in the insurance. I was sending screenshots of emails that I've sent. I was sending screenshots of how they were causing me to go negative and how my bills come out and whatnot. And she was asking them to like pay me back for going negative, and they, of course, they're not going to. Which I don't blame them, because they can't say that, their argument could be, well, maybe if you budgeted better, you wouldn't go negative in your account, or show us, and in. It's one of those where I get it, but they can see in my account, it's like, well, these auto payments come out, and I guess they could argue, well, why do you have this payment? It shows this from this time or whatever else like that, and I don't know, it's just very, very weird. So that's middle of July. That was like I said, the sixth or seventh time that they missed payment. They've essentially cost me from the very, very beginning, when I was waiting for payment from them, when I first got on home restrictions, which was the beginning, middle of September, between then until the end of July, they cost me probably $500 to $600 in non-sufficient fund fees because of their missing me, not sending me a payment and being delayed, especially back in March when 3 weeks went by with zero payment. And I was asking like, hey, 2 months have gone by, haven't heard anything on the IME. I wanna get this stuff figured out. The IME report finally came July 31st, and they just cut everything right then. They're like, at this point, we're done. No disability benefit, no appointment approvals, no nothing, like done. And so I'm sitting here still kind of like wanting answers and got nothing. And so I obviously went in panic mode, which I forgot to say. They prescribed me Flexeril back when that didn't really do anything for me. It helped me fall asleep. I was getting max 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night because I'd be in so much pain or migraine or hurting. They gave me gabapentin, which I want to say has helped overall. Like, I don't get the migraines as bad, but I've also haven't been doing jack squat. Like, I try to make sure that I don't do very much with this arm at all to try to avoid not getting a headache or to avoid getting a headache, whatever. So the gabapentin's kind of worked, but luckily I was getting gabapentin. It was one time a month refills. I was having a hard time with them approving it. And if anyone knows gabapentin, you're not supposed to just stop cold turkey. Well, there would be times where they wouldn't approve it very quickly, and so I'd end up going like 4 or 5 days without the medication. And sorry, I should have said something about what it does. Blocking the nerve pain. So I had issues there. So finally, I was calling Express Scripts because they're the ones who do the prescription stuff, which they were super nice. They said, ask your doctor if you can get a 3-month supply, so that way you don't have to worry about like this constant back and forth every month trying to do it. So I got my doctor to put in for a 3-month supply, and luckily they approved it. WorkComp approved it, and I got it. So at least now I have a supply amount to last me for a little bit. But yeah, so they end everything. Everything was done. I went into panic mode because I'm like, sorry, money is done. Like, the only income now is Chase. Chase, we don't make enough money with just Chase working. And I don't want to go back to work because the whole thing is a safety issue. I don't want to go into work, end up with a migraine 15 minutes later, 5 hours later, whatever, and it be as debilitating as it's been. And now I can't drive home. Like, it would not be safe for me to drive home. I'd have to literally sit at work and wait for Chase to get off work for him to be able to pick me up and take me home. And if it's the weekend, Chase has been doing crazy drag shows, and they're usually up north. So weekends he's typically gone. Mostly like Saturday noonish until Sunday noonish, or Sunday early afternoon. So if I'm working on a Saturday or Sunday, I just have to wait until someone maybe could drive me home, and then my car's not working. So how do I get back to work and stuff like that? And so I didn't want to risk, going in, end up with a migraine, because I'd be pretty much pointless there. And so that's kind of the biggest thing that's been keeping me on home restrictions is the migraine stuff. And again, the more I do, like right now, I can actually tell just because I talk and I move my arms a lot, I'm already feeling it here. That like I hope I did not kick something by doing this. So I got an attorney right away, which someone was telling me to get an attorney. Some of the reason why I didn't get an attorney sooner was because I didn't want to have a now another party to have to go through for communicating and trying to get things approved or not approved, because things were already getting so delayed as it is. And by now adding another person, it's just another layer in the chain of trying to figure all this stuff out. So I didn't get one sooner, but the day everything ended, I got an attorney right away. But again, still in panic mode, because what am I going to do financially? I don't know what's going to happen. The attorney suggested, he's like, just do your doctor stuff. Just go. No, Tusk, nice to see you. Right, and that was the other thing, is don't want to catch, don't want to get another injury at work and get a lawsuit. The IME cleared me 100% for work, like to quite literally go back in the tunnel and be instructing again. Like, he cleared me 100%, and it's almost like he didn't even bother listening to me, no nothing. Which that I can get into as well, or I can make that another stream sometime. So the lawyer said, start going to those doctors. They've been requesting a cervical spine since February. Go to see one. I saw one last week, and he 100% said, "Yep, that's not looking good." He kind of was like, he was really quick on everything. He didn't really ask me a lot, and I didn't get to say a lot of what's going on. But the way I got from him was kind of like, everything was kind of like a no duh, as in, and not in a rude way, no duh, more so like, well, of course you're going to have these symptoms. Of course these things are going to be going on because your neck is messed up. And he says, claims it's from work. So I have another person who's saying that it's work related. And King Crew, nice to see you. So I got him to say that what they want to do, his plan of attack right now is to do a cortisone shot. And if the cortisone shot doesn't work, which I'm not gonna lie, I've heard so many people do that, and I do not want to do a cortisone shot for maintenance. To me, that doesn't solve anything. And I've heard bad experiences with those as well, but we're gonna do it. And depending on how it goes, like if I feel like it helps out immensely, cool. If it doesn't really do anything, no change, or maybe even get worse, then the option is to do a disc replacement surgery, which means then obviously I have to go in for another surgery to have the disc replaced in my neck. And that's not even solving the shoulder issue I have yet. So I started going back to my physical therapist, and I brought her the IME report that was written up, which is a joke, an absolute disgusting joke. So she decided to do pretty much every shoulder test you could possibly think of. I mean, she even pulled out a book. That's what I was going to say. She could do every shoulder test you could throw the book at. Well, she pulled the book out, and she did more than she's normally does or looks at, and she's like, I want you to see someone who specializes in shoulders, because she's like, I 100% think something's going on. Get into a shoulder specialist. So in the last 2 weeks alone, I've almost had more answers than I've had since February. Definitely neck stuff going on. Definitely get a shoulder specialist going. Like, I have doctor's appointments already lined up, all this other stuff. So I got things going for me, and I'm actually like excited now, because I'm like, all I've been wanting to do is get back to work. I want to be back at work. I've visited the wind tunnel maybe 4 times since the injury, and I hate going in because I get depressed. Like, I see customers that I've worked with and trained, I see first-time flyers, and all I think is, I want to be in there. I want to be coaching. When I see someone who I was helping in the past in there, and where their skill level is, like, I get mad, because it's like, I wanted to bring them to that level. I wanted to get them there. So obviously depression has played a big role in a lot of this. Which, again, maybe I could do another stream on mental health type stuff or whatever else like that. It's it's been a lot between the migraines, the not working, the having to be the advocate for myself of pushing to get paid, pushing to get approvals, pushing to say like, no, this is what's going on. Luckily, I have not had a good experience with doctors in the past at all, at all. This time around, I feel like I'm actually being heard. I feel like I'm being understood. And I feel like they actually want to try to get answers for me. Whereas in the past, with certain things that I've had happen, I always felt like I was crazy. And so I was really scared going into this. So I've actually really appreciated the people that I've been working with on making me feel like I'm actually sane and that I'm valid. And so that's like, I like, sounds bad. I want to cry right now because that's so opposite of what I'm used to. And so that's the one thing that's been helpful for my mental health. But aside from everything else, it's just been not good, not good at all. Hello, Et. Good to see you. So I have some answers coming. However, I financially it sucks right now. And that's obviously why I have a GoFundMe going. I don't like the fact that I have to do that. I've kept it kind of quiet. I've had it mostly only on my Facebook page. I did put a little bit of it in my Instagram page, which my Instagram is the exact same as my YouTube handle. So if you go to my Instagram, it's skydivertanner. All one word. And some skydivers have helped out a lot, some family, and I'm not on here trying to like be like, oh, go to there and donate. Like I have it up there just in case. But I wanted to mostly talk about what's been going on and what's been happening, so people can kind of understand where I've been, what's been going on, life being busy between Chase and me, and then also mental health type stuff, which again, maybe there should be a whole separate stream as far as mental health things go. I'm also looking into whether or not I have adult ADHD. And that's been a journey as well. I try to start figuring this out December time, and a lot of like places were booked 6 months or more out. I had something booked in January for June. For some reason it got canceled in February, and so then I saw, oh, you don't have to go to a psychologist. I tried to do some other counseling places. One was through work, but I found out like, oh, it's more like a depression health thing, kind of. I don't know what you'd call it. And then the other one was like a therapist, but then once he was leaving, after seeing him 4 times, he was leaving that company, and he was like, oh, we don't do ADHD assessments here. I was like, well, what the hell? Which I need to jump back then in February, when my original sports medicine doctor suggested seeing a cervical spine specialist and also getting the MRI. She also requested to see a neurologist. The soonest neurologist I could get at the end of February was for October. My QRC and I laughed. We're like, October, like I'm going to be better by then, right? I kept that appointment, and now it's like, wow, I'm glad I did, because October is like right around the damn corner, and next thing you know, I'm gonna be there, because obviously they want to look to see if something else happened with the incident, that could be causing the migraines aside from the neck stuff. I'm kind of going back and rereading some things, but Tusk, I saw a little bit of that. I've wanted to watch it, but there's a part of me where I kind of purposely haven't because I'm aware of kind of like my depressive state right now, but I have so many other layers and other things going on that I didn't really want to watch it to kind of like be like, this is another thing that I have to address when I kind of already know there's an issue, and I should watch it though because I'm sure knowing you, there's some good pointers on there on what's going to help out. Um, uh, so that's kind of where it stands right now. I am looking into my short-term disability insurance, um, which that's a nightmare right now too. For every piece of paperwork I turn back to them, I feel like I get 5 more pieces of paperwork that have to be filled out. Um, yeah, um, I'm reading the Shane. And I think that's why I kind of got back into a little bit of the Rockets. I kind of was not getting into it so much because I did so much over the pandemic, and it's a little bit of like, for lack of a better term, it's like PTSD all over again from the pandemic. And so I haven't gotten into them. So that's kind of why I was getting into like these little wood puzzle marble run things, and they have other cool wood puzzle things like trains and airplanes and mechanical like a gearbox for a car engine, and so you can see how it works. Um, yeah, I'm reading Kings now. King Crew, your message. It's so many weird things. I mean, it would explain a lot from my childhood. Um, but so I'm trying to get all the paperwork going as far as short-term disability, but it's going to suck because I thought work comp didn't pay very much. I think work comp was 75%, maybe 80% of my income, but now my short-term disability is supposed to be 66% of my income, but they don't take commissions into account. My commissions at my job, without me having to work really hard to get commissions, like just basic commissions that like, so if Upfront sells a high flight, I didn't sell it, but I'm the one who's flying it, so I get money off of flying that high flight. And just a lot of other things. My income literally doubles off of commissions. Short-term disability doesn't take commissions into account. They take my base pay, and then they take 66% of that. So really, I'm only getting about a third of what I would normally get on a paycheck. And so that's where it's like getting kind of scary to think about financially as well, is because not only currently do I have zero income coming in, but once I get all this paperwork filled out for short-term disability, I'll only be getting about a third of what I would normally be making. So we're trying to figure things out. We're trying to, I've sold some stuff off. Some things don't sell as quick or for the price you want, but trying to do that. I took a loan out on my 401k, which I don't, it's obviously not a fun feeling to have to take out from your 401k, and especially when you get interest on that. So I set up the GoFundMe. My goal with the GoFundMe, so everyone knows, so everyone out here, my goal, and I even put it on there, is if I get some, I know I should set up an OnlyFans. Gained about 35 pounds since the incident because of the depression and because of just sitting around. My goal though is if there's some sort of settlement, or even I don't think this is going to happen, but if work comp starts things back up again and there's some sort of retroactive back pay or something like that, my goal is any settlement, any retro back pay is immediately going to go to pay back the people who donated or gave anything, whether through my Venmo or through GoFundMe or PayPal, whatever. That is my goal 100%, because I didn't even like the idea that I had to open a GoFundMe or set it up. So that's my goal, and I I'm kind of excited to like be able to pay back. One, because it would feel good for me, like you guys helped me in my time of need. Now I want to show you that, like, one, I'm trustworthy, I'm going to pay you back, but two, that if you're now in a position, I can help you out or something. I don't think that work comp is going to do any sort of continuing benefits, because like I was talking to Chase, my medical deductible is $6,500 per year. So that's the max I have to pay out of pocket. So if they were to cover this year and next year for medical treatments, that'd be $13,000 that they'd give me, that I could pay to my insurance for my deductible, right? So $13,000. And then if they were to cover, let's say, a year's worth, and I'm going to give out some information that, I don't care at this point. If I make $45,000 a year and you throw that $13,000 on top of it, for 2 years of deductible, and that's now $58,000. So let's say they were to pay 2 years worth of deductible and a year of income, that's $58,000. Versus if they continued benefits, they have to give me my weekly pay, plus then pay for anything like more MRIs or anything else like that. My distal bicep tendon, for the surgery alone, was $5,000 for the anesthesiologist, and I think it was $11,000 or $12,000 for the surgery. So $17,000 just for the surgery on this. That doesn't include the MRIs. That doesn't include the x-rays. That doesn't include all the PT that went with it. So let's add all that on. And let's say, like, just for this part alone, let's say $35,000, right? Now you throw in the neck, the MRIs that I've had done for that, any surgery that has to be done, guarantee minimum $50,000. If you throw in shoulder stuff, again, let's say minimum $40,000 for surgery, MRIs, and PT and whatever else. It's cheaper for them to just settle out with me than it is to continue paying $100,000+ strictly just for the surgeries and testing and PT, not including the weekly payment, of disability benefits. So it's cheaper for them to settle out. So I'm kind of hoping that's what they do. Obviously, try to ask for more. It would be nice. Enough for my lawyer to get paid, for me to get an actual decent amount, and then that way I can get everything fixed. I can get everyone paid back. And I can be back to work, because all I want to do is be back to work. Like, anytime I've talked with them, it was always about, is this approved? Is this approved? Can I go and get tested for this? Can I get this done? The only time I ever talked to them about money was when they didn't pay me. So I've always kind of shown, like, all I want to do is get better and get back to work. It never was about trying to settle out. It was about, get me to my doctors, get me to this stuff. So yeah, it's been kind of a fight. You guys with the OnlyFans and the OnlyTans. Yeah, I told Chase, I said, the only thing I can say right now is, even though financially, like, we don't know what's going on, I have not been so excited in such a long time, because, like, I'm like, I can get answers, I can get in, I can get whatever I need done. I can get the shoulder looked at and fixed, I can get the neck looked at and fixed, I can get, hopefully, my low back. I have an appointment at the end of this month to talk about, getting into a shoulder specialist and talking to my low back, because my low back has gotten really bad in the past 4 to 5 months. Some of it could be from sitting around and not doing much, but I'm going to assume that, obviously it started from the injury and got worse as time has gone on. So that's kind of the whole spiel. I know it's a lot, and I know I probably jumped around a lot. Maybe that's kind of that, a little bit of that ADHD stuff that's going on. Chase has been crazy busy on his end. He's been very, very supportive with this stuff, helping me out, obviously, through the surgery and through the migraines and everything. And I feel bad because I complain a lot. I've been trying not to complain as much about like what I'm feeling, because every day is a struggle and painful and hurting, and scared of if I'm gonna do the wrong thing, if I'm gonna end up with a migraine or not. But he's been absolutely amazing. He's working hard at his job, being a manager there, and also doing a lot of drag shows. So it's been crazy for him. He's usually off or home from work by about 5:30 my time, obviously, PM. And so sometimes, like, if we want to stream, obviously I would want him to wind down and settle down. But around my time, it would probably be like 7:30, 8 o'clock before we'd start streaming. And that'd probably make it really late for other people in other areas of the world that typically have come to my streams. And we want to try to have as many people here as possible. It's fun to have everyone interact. You won't be getting your Gulfstream 700 for Christmas. No, sorry, not going to happen. Not this year. I don't know. Maybe you haven't been that great either. Santa might not be happy. I know, right? Call me Panbot. And we joked about that at one time. Like, I'm going to be the next bionic man, and hopefully I won't have a bunch of metal parts in me inside the wind tunnel, because metal and glass don't mix very well. We have to watch people. Like, if you have a ring on, we have you take rings off and everything else like that, because if you go up to the glass, tempered glass, and you hit it with the metal, and I mean it's thick glass, but if you hit it just right, it will spiderweb the whole glass and everything. I mean, there's videos out there of it happening. It's wild seeing it. So yeah, metal and glass do not mix. So I'm super excited, because like that's the one thing that's kind of helped my mood, and maybe what helped me decide to do a stream today and be like, what, I need to get back into this as well, because you guys are therapy for me as well. The $600 man, it's the $1 million man, or whatever it is, to get answers. I told Chase, I'm like, I'm so excited, because I want to get better. I want to get back to work. It's not an excited like, yes, I got a lawyer and we're going to take them to the, I don't know what the term is. Don't listen to me. Take them to the cleaners. There you go. It's none of that. It's I truly like am excited to see what they have to say. I'm not excited like if I have to get surgeries and stuff, but it is exciting knowing that, I'm back to where I need to be. Oh, wait, restarting the source. I'm gonna have to go back into. I am very, very, very rarely in Discord. Very rarely in Discord. I don't know why. Yeah, I just kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of like any social media, where my Facebook has turned into a political Facebook, where it's just like I complain about people's rights being taken away and discrimination. I just post about a lot of crap of where people are being discriminated against, and I hate it. And so that's what my Facebook has kind of turned into. Something funny now and then. I mostly am on Instagram, but I don't really post on there a lot. I mostly just scroll through to see the funny videos, and that's about it. But Instagram's kind of the only social media that I do now. I watch YouTube a lot, but it's mostly like LawTube things. I don't interact on there like I used to. I don't interact on YouTube as much. as I used to. I will now and then. Like I've popped into uh, a Team Skeptics stream every blue moon. I've popped into the plot hole. I've popped into him quite a bit when he does stream. I know he kind of turned into me where he kind of stopped for a while, or it seemed like it slowed down a lot. I've gone to an MC Toon stream or two, maybe probably like 3 of them in the past 10 months or so. But a lot of the YouTube stuff that I watch, it's either stuff that you can't interact with, or I'm watching it like not live. It's after the fact. Uh, it's weird. I watched a lot of weird things. My kick lately, as of recently, has been watching car accidents on there. And I tell you what, all I know is it's gonna make me. I was already a defensive driver and I already drive like grandpa, but it's only gonna make me look through even more so. Kind of reading your thing again. Toon streams are what you watch if you watch, yeah. I got into which Hunter will be. Oh, I've talked with Hunter, and it was obviously through Instagram because, like I said, it was the only thing I kind of really used lately. I hit him up because I got back into my handguns. I've always told people I've never had a huge issue with guns. I've had an issue sometimes with how they can be obtained, and certain types of guns I've had issues with, which that's a whole other debate. But I got back into my handguns. I got my concealed carry, and some of the reason why I got my concealed carry is after the Denver nightclub shooting, or was it Colorado Springs? And I can't say it because I don't even remember the name of it. But after that the shooting happened there, where I think it was like a trans person or a trans drag queen ended up subduing the person who was doing the shooting. I don't trust society when it comes to the LGBTQ community, and just seeing more and more hatred go towards the community. I decided to get my concealed carry, kind of almost purposely only for that. Like I've never felt like I needed it. Just kind of walking around or whatnot, but with certain things, I like if I go to watch Chase at the bar or the club, whatever, I'm carrying on me. Definitely, hands down, I'm gonna have it on me. If I'm in a certain area where it might be a little bit more LGBTQ friendly, like it's not those people I don't trust, but it's people coming into that neighborhood that I don't trust. And I want to be able to defend myself and my friends. And so I got my concealed carry pretty damn quickly after, or got interested in it after that whole nightclub incident. And Chase got, pretty into it. He had never shot a gun in his life. He dealt a lot with bow and arrows, being Native American, but never a gun. And so I kind of taught him a little bit about the safety stuff on it. How to properly handle it, how to properly do certain things. And he went to the gun range for the very first time with me a couple months back, and he actually did pretty well. He did pretty good. My first handgun was a Glock 43X. The store owner kind of convinced me into that. I didn't want, my budget was a certain range. And I didn't want something super chintzy or something really bad. But then my second one is, which I'm sure Hunter will probably have certain words to say about it. But my second one is a Canik Mateus SF. So it's kind of like their newer generations. I didn't get the micro compact because I've heard some issues with that, but the SF has been fantastic for me. Considered making that my concealed carry. It's about the same as a Glock 19. Um, but currently I don't carry it very much because the stippling on the handle is like sandpaper on my skin, and I don't wear an undershirt because I roast really easily. Um, yeah, I know. Despite sexual orientation, exactly, religious beliefs, anything like it doesn't matter. You carry for what you need to carry for, and as long as my thing with guns and regulations and stuff like that has always been like, as long as you're safe and you know what you're doing, like I feel like anyone who wants to own a gun should quite should have to take some sort of um gun safety course. And I know that like for concealed carry, like many places will make you take a course. For me in here in Minnesota, it was just an online thing. It was like videos I had to watch, and then I went in for a live fire, and that was it. There was nothing as far as like, this is the proper way to handle. I mean, they talked about it a little bit in the videos, but like I know when I did a hunter safety course out in North Dakota, it was a 4 hour long class, and like it went detailed on like, this is how you handle it. This is how you make sure it's clear. Always do this, always do that. And they like drilled it in your damn head. And I feel like there's not enough of that. And so that's kind of where my issue sometimes is like, sometimes I feel like it's a little too easily obtainable for people, and they just don't know what to do with them. But yeah, I was hearing about that with Canic. They're either great or they're not. And I thought about looking into PSA as well, but I think Chase was really interested in the Witte MC, but now he's looking into a Hellcat. He really likes the Hellcat a lot. The only downside is the one reason why we kind of like the Canic is because he's left-handed, and it's ambidextrous. And really, the only thing ambidextrous about pretty much any other micro compact out there is the mag catch. Being able to flip it. 3 days to get a fishing permit in Germany. There takes some time sometimes here to get permits for certain things. But yeah, so that, I don't know what got me into that. With Chase being kind of busy. Get into that, Chase being busy. But there's a lot of shows up north. Go, and I love seeing it. It's great. He had a casino show last year, and he's got a casino show this year, and it actually pays really damn good money. The show this year isn't until middle of September. So, and yeah, I've been watching a lot of YouTube stuff. I've heard mix on Springfield, and I've heard mix on Sig. So I when I get into something, I research it hardcore. I research like no tomorrow. Like vehicles, when we were getting our vehicles, I researched into that big time. When it came to fish stuff, I researched hardcore. Like, I know for a while I was struggling with my tank, and I did a deep dive into, a lot of things, and now our tanks are freaking amazing. So I research hardcore, and I look into everything before I do something. But anyways, I don't know if anyone has any questions on anything. If anyone wanted to ask what's going on or an update on stuff, but this was kind of nice. It was a big therapeutic for me. I forget how therapeutic this is sometimes when talking with the guys, especially when it gets to be the funnier, goofier streams. I should do a stream sometime, like I said, about how some of the mental health has been up and down through all this, and how it's affected me. Like I said, obviously I've gained quite a bit of weight since all this has happened. And thanks, Shane. It's nice to see people on here. It really is. And despite how little I've talked to a lot of people and how much I've kind of heard about some dramas happening and some being no big deal. It's just nice to have people just chill out for a bit and can talk. Um, I can't guarantee anything as far as like Chase and I kind of had a little bit of an issue a few months ago, and one thing I said is like I can't guarantee that I'll be on frequent or that I'll um, chat with people often, whether it be through Discord or anything else like that. But I will say, I'll try, even or welcome. Um, Try to kind of do it. The biggest problem I have is forcing myself or getting to do it. And I think today some of the reason why I live streamed is because I'm excited. I'm excited that I'm finally getting answers and finally getting some news. And I wanted to share that excitement aside from coming on here and being mopey as far as like, well, I still haven't gotten my doctor appointment yet. I'm still in pain. Because I feel like that was where my head was for the last 10 months. And I feel like I'm finally in a better headspace despite the financial area. I'm in a much better headspace than what I've been for the last 10 months. And so I think that was something where I needed to come back on and share the excitement. And because I'd rather come on and be fun versus depressing and sad all the time. Because I definitely would have been, I would have been very depressing and sad. I would not have been a fun person to watch. And I know I've talked a lot about the stuff that's going on recently, but you guys need to know what's been happening. I know Chase has said a couple times that he would like to come on, and he's off of work at 3 o'clock, which is 12 minutes from now. He won't walk in the door for about another half hour probably. But I'm sure he'd come back on no problem, and we'll have to chit chat and get things set up. I have to reorganize out here just a little bit so that way we can get a second chair. I put the camera in a different spot. I kind of like it where it is right now. It's more straight on. Before it was behind my monitor, so it was up higher. The only thing is it's right in front of the monitor, but I have things set up in such a way where it's not really truly blocking anything other than my own face. What's being played on the screen. But yeah, so that's the plan, and maybe in like 3 weeks, I will hopefully I'll come back on before the 3 weeks, but in 3 weeks that's when I'm supposed to go back to the cervical spine doctor. Maybe in 3 weeks they'll be saying, hey, I'm going in for surgery. The cortisone didn't do anything. And then it might be that they don't want to do anything with the shoulder until the neck gets healed out a bit more. But it might be one of those where, they want to do surgery on the shoulder, or they want to look into it more, but they're going to wait for the neck to get better or something. It's going to be kind of a race of what happens first. And I am in a fish tank world. It's wild, and they've kind of been my sane thing too. I mean, 4 of these tanks have been set up. I think it's 4 of these things have been set up since the whole injury thing. Chase has helped out with those. So it's been, trying to figure them out. Like each tank is a bit different. I have 2 tanks that have like shrimp in them, and they're different colored, and they're all very unique in their own way. And so they're not all just the same. And I think that's what's kind of fun about it. So they have been kind of my little sanity thing. I'm actually surprised with Bailey though that he's been pretty good. Like I said, he's kind of taken it down a turn for the worst. I think I was talking about how he was hacking last time too, but so that hasn't helped with the mood either, because poor Bailey not doing so good. But anyways, I think I'm gonna kind of cut it here. My throat is starting to go because I haven't talked a lot in a long time. with not being at work and not talking all day there, and then obviously not coming on here at all and not talking a lot, so I can feel my voice going. I actually do feel my shoulder and neck starting to kick in because I've been moving stuff around so much. The other weird thing is the more I move, so obviously I had the surgery here, but like I'll get shrapnel type feelings in the arm where it quite literally feels like I have shards of metal in here. And I'll get stingers, and I'm feeling like my fingers kicking in, and it only really gets bad the more I start moving. And so the more I've been moving my arms around, I feel it more. The other weird thing, very, very weird thing, and I'm glad it finally happened the other day. Because like I said, I've always felt like I was crazy in the past when I talk about this to people. So if I try to massage on the incision area, right? One, it feels like there's shrapnel underneath there as I work on it. And I've never had that with any of my incisions before. This one I do. But I will break out in hives. I'll get like a rash of hives on my arm if I work on it quite a bit. And when I was at my physical therapist and she was doing all those shoulder tests that I said, like, she pulled out the book and was doing ones that she hasn't done in a while, I started to break out in a rash really bad down my arm. And she's like, huh, that's weird. She's like, you got a rash. Like, did you just wipe something? Did you have different deodorant? I'm like, no. I'm like, this happens. I'm like, it's been happening as I've been working on this. But like I've been breaking out in rashes, and she's like, that's really funky. So for her, it means maybe more of a nerve thing where there's something with the nerves going on. I don't know why, but if I rub over here, if I do anything over here, if I'm trying, no rash, no hives, no nothing. And Mario Rui, welcome. I was probably going to end things really shortly here because, again, Chase is probably going to be home in the next like 20-25 minutes, and the dogs are going to go berserk when he walks in. So I don't want to be on stream when that all happens. But yeah, so I don't break out in a rash or anything anywhere else. It's just on my right arm, which is the side that I have the most issues with. So it'll be interesting if someone gives me an answer for that. I never mentioned it to the cervical spine doctor, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that is all about. But oh, I have an idea. I'm gonna run it by you guys real quick. So, like I said, I don't do social media a lot, but I had an idea of something that maybe would help make me be sane, and it's really weird. So obviously you guys have seen Chase put me in drag, and I don't know if you remember, there was a time where I had Amber Atkins diet, and I don't remember who the other one was on stream. But I thought about making a TikTok that was Amber Atkins diet, and what she would do is she would either shoot maybe some things like tell Midwest stories, but the biggest one would be to read song lyrics in a Midwest mom accent. And it would start off very gentle, and she would read just the regular stuff, like, don't go chasing them there waterfalls. Just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, right? Song lyrics. But then people could start requesting what songs they want her to read. So, like, think about, like, if someone asks for WAP to be read in song lyrics, like, talking about that wet, oh, that's a naughty word. I don't know if I can say that. So we're going to say that wet, damp kitty, or something like that. And I thought it would be hilarious, but rather than like Chase doing like drag on me constantly, it'd be put me in it, and then I could read like 10 of them or something, or record 10 of them, maybe change outfits a little bit, but then I could put one out a week, and so then that way I'd have like enough for a while, and then get put in drag again, read out another, and by that point maybe some people will have made requests or whatnot, and So that was my idea to do it. I don't know if people would be interested in that or not. And so I think I might start a TikTok that would be that. I might have it be maybe her names, or maybe I am on TikTok right now. I don't have anything as far like I don't have any videos. I don't have anything on it. I have an account strictly so I can watch certain ones because friends kept sending me TikToks to watch, and I kept getting asked, obviously, do you want the app? Do you want the app? And so finally I downloaded the damn app so I wouldn't have to try to do all this backdoor way of trying to find a way to watch it. And so I have my at skydivertanner handle on there. And so I didn't know if maybe I should do that handle, and then that way people are still kind of confused as to why is the handle at Skydiver Tanner, but it's this Amber Atkins diet chick who's talking. Either that, or I could do a mix between myself and that. But yeah, you're right. YouTube Shorts, I could do that as well. Because I know YouTube Shorts are a huge thing right now as it is. So I should definitely do that. I could, obviously put it on both areas and whatnot. So I'm trying to kind of read some things and get caught up. It's not Midwest unless there's 2 to 3 beers, 100%. It's either got to be that Old Milwaukee or the Pabst Blue Ribbon, or is the Pabst Blue Ribbon? No, because the small town I grew up in, North Dakota, was very Pabst Blue Ribbon. Everyone, I am not doing an OnlyFans. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. One, I currently do not feel very comfortable in my body at all. I'm sorry, 2 or 3 beers. Yeah, it's 2 or 3 beers there. Don't you know? I don't feel comfortable with my body. I don't know if Chase would approve. And if I were to ever do anything like that, it would probably be like modeling underwear, and that's probably it. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna call it here because it'll been an hour and a half since I've been on. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for letting me vent. OnlyFans, but just show the dogs. Hey, I've heard there's a lot of unique OnlyFans out there. And it doesn't have to be just sex porn, private part stuff. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, thank you guys for letting me vent. Thank you for letting me say what's been going on, and I'm hoping that my mental health kind of changes, and that I kind of get on here a bit more again. Now that I'm not in as bad of a state that I have been for quite a while, and try to get Chase on here. A Walgreens prescription is ready for me to pick up. I just got a notification for that, so probably should go do that. Oh, and I'll have to tell you about that IME report sometime. It was, like I said, it was messed up. Quite literally in 2 sentences, I told you the one doctor was strictly for my elbow, my surgeon, because she's like, as far as we're concerned, I'm only here for your elbow. So it was my last visit with her where she cleared me of my elbow, and she goes, but he still complains about, he put this in his report, she cleared him for his elbow. He still complained about his shoulder having issues and instability problems. And then in the very next sentence goes, he is completely cleared of all shoulder. Like, no, dude, you just contradicted yourself. You said, quite literally, I was still complaining about shoulder instability and issues and blah, blah, blah. But then in the very next sentence, you say he was cleared of all shoulder, medically of all shoulder issues. No, that's not how that works. And then the other thing he contradicted himself on in one part was he said that I didn't complain about my shoulder and finger numbness until a month after my elbow surgery. My elbow surgery was October 5th. In his own independent medical examiner report, he has my doctor's notes of what they kind of reported. September 6th, I talked about my elbow, my shoulder, and the tingling and numbness in my fingers. So from on September 6th, I stated that my doctor has it in her notes, but he said that I didn't complain about it until a month after my surgery, which would have put it into November. So he's given it a 2-month discrepancy of when I've actually said it to when he thinks I first mentioned it. But yeah, it's it's crazy. Anyways, thank you guys. Thank you for listening. And now I'm done with the Minnesota goodbye. This is actual goodbye. I will talk to you all later. I'm going to do it again where I actually schedule the stream like how I did today. I know it was short notice, but the last stream that I did, I just came on. I didn't even give an hour and a half heads up for people. So I will try to actually have it scheduled so people have some time to see it. Anyways, I want to see if I still remember how to do the outro area here. Here we go, outro. And you should still be able to hear me over that. There you go. I should talk about my knees and toes. My ankle is extra poppy. It cracks and snaps way more now than it ever did. I can rotate it and it'll pop, pop, pop. But, yes, thank you guys again for coming out. And, you know, some prayers as far as answers. I don't want to have to do surgery for my neck, but God, right now at this point, I would be excited as hell to have surgery on my neck if it meant getting rid of migraines and tingling and numbness and stuff. Also be interesting to see what they might say about the low back if I start getting that looked into, because if you I don't know if people have gone to chiropractors or not, or if you watch like when they lay you on your side and they kind of rotate and twist and you hear it like popping. I feel like that needs to be done all the time. Like I feel like my low back needs to constantly be popped, and it like if I bend over, bending down is okay. It's stiff, but then coming up hurts, and it's stiff as could be. And so that's why I want to get that looked into as well. But it constantly feels like I have to adjust it back into place. So yeah, there's more issues yet that I have to look into. One-star rating. I don't know, percussive maintenance, man, at this point. at this point, that might actually actually help. Because I mean, you get the right spot, and I'd still be alive, but I wouldn't be feeling anything, that's for sure. I'm about to land here, so it's gonna end. The stream is definitely gonna end. Yes, I had the Midwest goodbye, but I'm about to land, and it's gonna end.